Hi, this is Mary Ann Franzese Chasen, and welcome to Radical Democracy. Maddie Cheers is actually away. Maddie's in Nashville.
Oh, wow.
I'm sitting here with my sister and my business partner, Rosalie.
Hi.
Hey, Ro.
Hi there.
So, we are the co founders of Spark Elementary, right? We've been on the
Yes.
show before. We were talking
Yes.
about our literacy program. But today, interestingly enough, when Maddie knew that she was going to be away this weekend and we were talking about possible topics, she actually called me um, on 9/11, which was such an emotional day at school for us.
Yes, it
It's the
was.
first year that New York State has actually sent down a mandate to have the moment of silence across New York State in every school, where there would be a 5 minute period of remembrance of that day. So when we were talking about it, we thought about not just 9/11, but what happened the days after 9/11. And so the title of today's show is The Spirit of September 12th, which was really that sharing of such a deep pain and sorrow, which gave way to so much generosity and love among human beings. So, so that's our topic today. And I'm thinking about maybe we should start, Ro, with just how we handled it at school.
Oh, yeah. My gosh, I think you gave such a wonderful, beautiful assembly for the children, how you explained it, because it's such a difficult topic to explain. And also, we have such little ones as well.
Right. And kids get really scared
Yes.
because it is unthinkable that something it's terrifying. So right, how do we stay authentic? That's the challenge, and real without terrorizing the children about that subject. So for us at Spark, we start the day, our entrance is to upbeat music, right? Upbeat,
Yes.
contemporary, happy songs from the radio. And the kids, you can't help but dance your way into
Right.
school, right? And it sets the tone. The
It
kids are
does.
dancing, the teachers are dancing, we're all putting out our best moves, and it is like the wake up of the brain. So on 9/11, we played patriotic music,
Yes.
basically. And the kids were coming in, they were smiling, we're still smiling and greeting them. And as I was standing in the hallway watching our little ones come in, I was like overcome with the emotion of, oh my God, 18 years ago. And my children were that age, they were little at the
Right.
time. And so the memories just started flooding back of how scary it was and just how it was another day. It was like a regular September start of
Right.
school day. And for people to be going to their death unknowingly,
So
leaving their
horrible.
children,
Oh,
right?
so horrible. And I think right, the children weren't aware of that because usually you're like dancing, like singing. I was like, oh my gosh, and you look so sad. And I was like, they don't know what's happening. They were like,
What's
wait a minute,
happening
what's
to
with
Principal
Principal
Marion?
Marion?
It was just, and it was like this double feeling of like being so in the moment and appreciating their littleness and
Yes,
like this is it. Like they're this for a moment and flashing back in time to
right. Horrible.
that that moment. It was very painful. And then when we were all gathered, and we really like made a point of it, everybody in the building came to assembly.
Yes,
We didn't answer doors, we didn't
right.
answer phones. This is like, let's just stop and remember. So, hard thing, right?
It was, but I think like the way you just explained it so simply to the
To the
children,
kids.
yes, it was just, I don't know, it was like it turned out to be a beautiful assembly, and then especially at the end, which I loved, where everyone just showed love for each other and gave everyone hugs. That was so special.
Right. Like
Just
what
coming
we tried
together.
to do is like tie it into our social emotional learning curriculum. So part of the curriculum we use are the zones of regulation. And with
Yes,
that, if you're in the red
that
zone,
was
you're
perfect. The
out
way,
of
yep.
control, you're frustrated, you're angry, you want to have a fit. And when you get there, there are certain tools that we teach the kids every day of how can you move from the red zone back into the green zone, which is in your heart, calm, ready to
Right.
go, more sensible thinking, more rational. And so the tools that we work with are everything from breathing, knowing how to control it with your breath, knowing when you need to take a break, knowing if you need to go to the bathroom, knowing if you have to run around in the playground for a little while, and actually having certain actions, and especially being able to partner with someone else and receive help, whether it be from a teacher or another student. And that work happens every day because we all,
Yes.
hit moments. We have one boy at school. He's been calling it. I'm in the dark red zone. It's
That's
like,
so
oh no,
cute.
you're beyond red. We're in trouble, and we are when he gets to dark
Uh-huh.
red. But at least he's able to identify it. So, so we really used that to explain it to
Yeah,
the
I love that
kids.
how you said
We
he was
said there
right.
were people
Right.
who were, these were people who were very, very mad at America. They were totally in the red zone. They believed that they were right and America was wrong. It
Yes.
was this kind of thinking that's so divisive, right? Who's right? Who's wrong? And they were convinced that they had to attack America, and they got their mad feelings out by getting into a plane and driving it into a building where people were working and killed everybody on the plane, killed themselves, and killed the people who were working in the building. And
It's so horrible. Like just recounting.
I
Like it just
hate it.
it's
I
so the
hate
most
it.
saddest day. I
I
can't.
hate it. I hate thinking about it.
Me too.
And framed that way, it gave it sort of a context for the kids to say, this is why we work so hard because, and I think we actually said it
Yes,
to
you said
them,
that.
right?
Yeah.
You will grow up and know how to solve your problems, know how to calm your
Right.
anger, know how to take action from a place of peace inside of you rather than from the red inside of you, and change the world for the
Yes.
better,
Yes. And
right? Make there be peace. So it that piece felt like, okay, this is a way to frame it, to couch
and
it
also
for
too,
them.
I think as well, like the children who weren't even, they showed such empathy too, like the feeling of, oh, those poor people, like, oh, I
Well,
can't believe this, that they, you know what I mean, like it was such a nice, they just the feeling of empathy and love
oh
for
my gosh, like what?
what, yeah,
And then the second piece, which was really the piece of the silence, to take a moment of silence and think about all the people who were lost.
oh yes, that was also great.
And we talked about how, oh my God, how the firemen and the policemen went. And I, even as talk, every time I talk about it, you
Yes,
just choke
choke
up.
up.
That went into that building knowing that
Right,
more than
right.
likely they weren't going to come out, right?
So
And
sad.
still, they went in for the possibility of saving
Saving.
someone else.
My
And
gosh.
and as I'm doing it now, same thing when we were with the kids, I started to choke up about it. And then some of our more sensitive kids also started to cry.
Yes.
And
And also the teacher, all of us. Yeah, we
and
all did.
there too, like that permission to cry together. And we this is sad. This is so
Yeah, we all
tragic
were
and
crying. It was
sad,
just right.
and it's okay to cry about it in the
Yes.
community. So there's the idea of silence, right? Like to take the moment of reverence. But for us as educators, it we have to be brave enough to, in a way, explain to the children what it is that they need to be reverent about without scaring them.
Yes. And I think that was perfectly done, how you did it with the assembly.
So, and I think that it's the sharing of the tears becomes like a moment of silence and tears, it should be called,
Yeah, no, that's
because
what it
we need
is.
to cry about it once a year,
Yes.
can we?
Right.
So, and then the third part of the assembly was meditation,
Yes.
where it is like really, so what do we do about this? What can we do? And we led the kids through a heart meditation that we actually start every day with. We start assembly with very simple. First breath in, you just go into your heart. Second breath, you turn the light on in your heart where spark, right?
Yes.
And the light can be sunrise or the light switch or a
Right.
candle or starlight, moonlight, whatever the light is. Turn the light on in your heart. The third breath was to let that light fill your body, and then start moving outside of your body, sending love to the school, the community, the state, the country, the world, the
Yes,
universe,
that was so
and
nice.
that from that energy of love is really where things change. And and that's when we
And that was
ended
so
with,
right.
all we've got is love, so we might as well
Right. Oh,
share
it's
it.
so
So the kids
empowering.
were
And
all just up and hugging
and I
each
think,
other.
yeah, I think the meditation was so empowering, and also though the hugging was so healing.
Right,
Like
the
I think that
contact.
everyone coming, the contact with everybody, it was such a great. It was so nice for everybody, and even to hug the kids who, it's. I think we gave them comfort. Everyone gave each other comfort.
And I think that's like when we talk about this idea of the spirit of the day after 9/11, or the spirit of love in 9/11, and such an act of horror. You know this because you were one of the people in New York who like walked over the bridge, right,
Yes.
to get home.
Oh my
And I
God.
remember you saying that the walk
Oh,
was silent.
silent. It was horrible. No one speaking. Just so sad. It was. It. You, yeah. You felt like you were in another dimension. It was just like another. It was the most saddest experience. And no one, crowds of people, no one spoke.
Right. And so that was at the moment of devastation, is we fall into silence. And I think if we stay in silence, then I like you were saying with the kids, when we hugged, it felt like
Yeah.
there was healing began. So I think that it's not until you make connection with other human
Yes.
beings that you begin to.
Right, just to talk about it, like this is horrible, like what just happened, like you want to get that support from each other. It's true,
Right.
it makes things like a little bit
Bearable.
bearable, and you're able to, just to connect with each other,
Right.
like just act as a support system.
And that's really what happened in America. Like it it was like there was just so much outpouring of people
Yes.
there, like helping each other and moving through. And and even though there was such loss and grief.
It's true, and I do remember like having to go back to work afterwards, like the trains. We were all so afraid, but it was weird. Like even on the trains, you felt like
People
because
made eye
eye
contact.
contact, like we were connected in some way. Like okay, like let's look at like we kind of were connected in that subway car because everything was real or whatever. Things were all crazy, so everything was so crowded. But it was kind of we did. Then connections started making, and then you start talking. I think everyone was in such shock
Right.
that day, but it's kind of you felt like we were in this together almost. Like even though you didn't know the people, but we were together as a city, like in this.
And that's, and that is like, that idea of all get so lost in our day to day things that we have to do that we move around in a way that isn't connected,
Right,
right?
that's
Because we
true.
all have such a story going in our head of what has to get done or isn't done or what we need to do. But something like that just completely equalizes every human being.
Right,
It's just we're all human beings and we're all so fragile and vulnerable. And like we can't take life for granted.
no, it's so true. As just hearing this whole story, and even by saying like those poor people that they got up as a regular day, and then like your life is over. Like you don't know what happens. You're right.
Right.
You just have to no matter midst of all the craziness that goes on or the stress at work or this or that, like you have life.
Right.
And that is it's so true.
And I think in the face of that kind of loss and tragedy and heartbreak, we have that brief window when human beings are just completely like the good comes to the surface, like it's just the good, the God in each of us comes. And then that window closes, right? And you kind of move on and get back into
Right.
regular life. But I think after that phase, you have a choice either to harden and become angry or closed
Yeah.
off from other people and from humanity, or open and connect from the place of vulnerability, right? And continue to do good.
Right. That's right.
And so for us at Spark, we have been given an amazing opportunity
Oh boy, yes.
where we are being featured on the show George to the Rescue. And because we work with like many students who, what would you say, Ro? Like are tender,
Yeah,
right?
sensitive.
Sensitive,
Sensitive.
such
Little beautiful
sensitive
beings.
souls.
Yeah, sensitive
And so
souls.
we have a limit in our space to how many students we can service. We go up to fifth grade. Some of our students are not ready to leave in sixth
Yes. So
grade. We don't have the room to hold them. Many of our students, like, just need a little more time.
yes, before they go.
So George to the Rescue is building out 3 extra classrooms for
Yes.
us. A gorgeous literacy lab, which is you, right,
I
Ro?
love that.
You're
Yes.
part of Spark. A beautiful innovation lab, which I'd
Is
say is
you.
me.
Yes. So it's
And a sensory gym,
oh, it's
which
amazing.
is unbelievable because that services all the kids, family, community, in helping kids to really manage and regulate their sensory system. And so many of kids' red zone fits come from just having too much stimulation that they've taken in. And a sensory gym is designed specifically to use the muscles of the body to really begin to balance the brain.
Yes, that's
It's about certain exercises, the strength of the muscles that are needed, the integration of mind, body, and spirit at work. And so that in itself, having our children not only have the social emotional learning, right, but now actually have access to the exercises of a sensory gym and viscerally feeling what that's like to go in one way and come out another
yeah, it's
is phenomenal
yes,
for
it's
their
amazing.
personal training and also what we're going to do with it. But one of the organizations that has been central in helping us to work with the show George to the Rescue, they've actually taken on the project management, which is the organization called Hope Floats.
Yes, amazing.
They are a non-for-profit headed by Teresa Di Pietro
True.
and Jennifer Mackey. And they started Hope Floats after Sandy.
But they're two Earth angels.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable Earth angels.
They are Earth Angels.
They are.
I think they look like
They
angels.
do. I was ready to
right?
say
Don't
that.
they look
I was
like
ready to
angels?
say
I'm
that because they both have those beautiful. They look like Earth angels. They do.
So these women started Hope Floats as a non-for-profit after Sandy, which was devastating to Lindenhurst, where we're at. And they helped countless people in those after hours. And Sandy was, again, one of those experiences where, same thing, we were hit so hard, and just the rising of
yeah.
community spirit and love was unbelievable.
Yes.
We had the school, right? We were at
Yes,
the
we just
time.
started,
We
yeah.
had students who lost their homes. Parents were just didn't know where to go. And again, the school became like a center to hold families because we had electricity.
Yes,
we
you're
weren't
right.
hit. We were the charging station. We were the aftercare so
Right.
parents could start figuring out where they were going to be.
So
We
true.
even hosted a family to sleep there, remember?
Yes,
One of our
yes.
teachers who's lost everything.
And also too, like we also gave all the students who did all the therapy services within our school. You
'Cause
gave
of
them
the
art
trauma.
therapy,
It
drama
was-
therapy. And you had sessions with them, so we really helped them get through it this time. Such a rough time.
Right. And so Hope Floats has been working with the community to bring in donations of materials to build out the space. I did not know this was part of the show, right?
Right.
Did you, Ro? And it's been my favorite part of all, in that community members are donating their labor.
Oh,
right?
so
We had the
wonderful.
painters union in. A shout out to Jared. he
Jared,
was
he was so
unbelievably
nice.
sweet. The painters union was in. The spacklers were in. The electricians all donating
Even
their
the
time.
paint, right? All the paint
The
material.
paint, but- Yes,
Adolf.
Adolf donated all the paint and equipment being donated.
Oh, they came in right. Dumpsters being donated, and how about when we had to clear out the back space? Like people that we didn't even know from the community came to help. Like
Yes.
I just was like taken back by how people come and help you when you ask for help. Show up for
Show
you.
up in a way
beautiful.
that there is so much love and excitement. I'm like,
And
this.
just for helping you, just to do because we want to help you. Like I was just like, what? Oh my gosh! I mean, I don't think we always
Like truly, it's the
see
meaning
that.
of life. I
It was
think
so
It's-
beautiful. I was so
I
touched.
now
I could-
know this is the meaning of life.
I think we
It's-
continually get touched by anyone who enters in that back space. It's like an experience of a lifetime to see how people are so kind.
And there's the aspect which is everyone from George to the Rescue, NBC, they are
The nicest.
the
Shout out
nicest.
Andrew, Devin,
Oh
the
my
crew. They're like
gosh.
the nicest.
Ramiel is
Ramiel.
we love him. He's so nice, our cameraman.
Everyone, they are like the nicest people.
But
And George too is so
George
down to
is
earth.
incredible.
He's the nicest guy
That's
ever.
a heart of gold.
Heart of
Hearts
gold.
of gold. Like they're
And
actually
they talk to everyone, like just so kind to everyone.
smiles and
I
excitement.
feel like they're all like part of our family. It's like
I'm gonna
we're
miss
related.
them,
I'm
right?
gonna miss
It's
them. They're
so-
all related to us. I feel like
We have to invite him for Sunday dinner.
yes, we have to.
Listen,
Mom.
guys, we're having a nice Sunday dinner, Italian dinner. But so the show itself is like the real deal. So much love and good natured people who want to
Unbelievable.
connect, are interested in what we do with our kids, are interested in the
And they
future.
love the kids. Like it's
Yes,
just yeah.
so kind, so kind.
They want to see people happy.
So, but
Yeah.
those are the people who are like they're there. They're part of the structure of it, and then you have the actual builders of the dream,
yes.
and that's headed off by Ben from Ben Jackson
is-
Contracting,
Yes, he's
and
amazing.
he is literally the builder of dreams, this man. So it's
Yes.
like the dreams that you dare to dream. So here it is, like they're giving us this opportunity, and Ben takes on the construction.
And so like down to earth and happy that night, and then
Kind
And
and
his-
generous, and his team is
his
amazing.
son and Jennifer,
Right, his son
and Jen, his
partner.
Jen. I mean, they're just like they
Like a
come in,
family.
family. Like, yes, what do you need? This is going to happen. Like, just so positive, and just so willing to help.
So this has been the discovery for me. So all of that like sparkles. It sparkles and shines, like the shiniest part of being human, and just people with a smile, and like no problem. Like it's going to be okay. But as each day goes by and a different person we're letting in to do the work, as I would like talk with them for a little while, I've come to realize that most of the people, once you get past the kind of hellos
Right.
and the more superficial chat, like really taking the time and asking the question of like, what brings you here?
Right.
Like, what brings
Yes.
you here? What brings you here? That's been my question. What brings you to this kind of work? Ro, I have to tell you that most, if not all, of the people who have volunteered and donated have suffered some kind of loss in their
Yes.
life.
They have.
And some really big ones. There's a lot of people, because of the connection to Hope Floats, who lost everything in Sandy. There are people who have lost children,
Yes.
right? Like to talk to people and say they lost a son. Like what? There are people who are coming back from illness. There are people who have survived horrible car accidents. And actually, the people who are donating all of
Amazing.
our sensory material, again, by the grace of God,
God,
we
yeah.
somehow connected with him from
Teresa.
Teresa did Fit Factory, it's called, Ro.
I don't know if it's Fit Factory
Or
but
Fun Factory.
something-
Fun
yeah,
Factory. They build sensory gyms all over the
over.
country. All over the country. And they are donating all of the materials. And again, there's a story there where there was possible loss because of a car accident. So what I'm starting to put together is that when we come through difficult situations, we, like, I think we land at a crossroads.
Ju-
Is that what you're
I'm just
thinking?
thinking the same thing.
Were you
that-
thinking the word
that
crossroads?
yes, that either you could take it and give back and make it into positive, or you could be really sad and angry.
And
Like, or
bitter and
bitter.
closed off. So it's
Yep.
right. It's
Yeah,
either
I'm
the
thinking
heart
same thing.
is going to open
Open.
up, connect with other people, like make something good where there was nothing, or close off and be miserable and divisive and righteous and all the other things that just what closes off the heart, hardens the heart. And so there is this potential, right,
Yes,
in suffering,
that's true.
that
That's true.
if you really let yourself be helped, if we really notice those who need help and let ourselves stop and help, then like the potential to be happy is like right there.
Yes.
Right? It's right
That's
there
so
because
true.
it's in the connection. You and I, so they're building out this space in what was just like a warehouse for
Yes.
us, which turns into a giant walk-in closet,
Oh, my
basically.
gosh.
But in the
Yes.
dark, like
Yes,
in
in
the
the dark.
dusty,
Yes, right.
dark, horrible end of our building. If you and I had to clean that out alone, we
First
would
of
have
all, every
been
year
miserable.
right.
We
Every
would have been
year,
cursing.
cleaning out. And to have those people come and do it in like
It was a party.
yeah,
It was a joy.
it was such a great day.
It was joyous. So, like, there's this level of human spirit that we forget about. And, these are like two very opposite things we're talking about. We're talking about 9/11, which was heroic sacrifice and tragic loss, traumatic, devastating. Just like speechless, just leaves you
Right.
speechless. Where again, the human spirit of connection somehow like made it bearable.
Right, that's so true.
And what's happening to us at Spark is such a gift, right? It's
Right.
this great.
It's a dream.
It's
like a
right.
dream come
It's
true.
it is winning the lottery. Like it's just that.
Like
the-
you really can really feel like dreams can come true.
Right.
Like
So
that's
it's
that
the
feeling of,
other
right.
end of that spectrum, and there too. For us and this project and the way that it runs, the only way it could happen is from the generosity of people giving back and
Right, and also I think too, like the belief in us as well, because remember how when Therese said come in with Ben and Jen and the other Jen, like they saw something in our school and they want, you know what I mean? Like they kept coming back to saying no, this would be great, even though remember they just had a belief that
well, and
it
that's
would
true
work.
too, because talk about just the struggle of having a school as a business and making it feasible and sustainable is it and taking on the kids we take on. It is nonstop, 7 days a week.
Yes.
And the question is like, oh my God, how are we going to keep going? How are we
Right.
going to make it? And that is true, because to be chosen for the project, because it's not like it was a process to be
Yes,
chosen,
yeah.
right? They interviewed parents, students. There was criteria of why
Right.
Spark?
Yes. Why us? Right.
Why Spark? There are a lot of other schools out there who
Right.
would love this kind of build out. Why Spark? And what it came down to for them was love.
I didn't know they said that was so
Yeah,
nice.
that it was that level of love that you could, like, you could feel it. You can feel the realness of it. That it was authentically that we love these
We
kids,
do. It's
and
true. That's so
and would
true.
sacrifice for them.
Right.
So there, we don't. It's weird, right? Like, so we don't think of ourselves as sacrificing. We think of ourselves as we we will do whatever it takes to give these kids a place where they can shine.
Yeah, we're committed to them. Like
And
that's
when they
yeah.
leave us, where they can lead and do good in the world. But it has taken a lot of sacrifice on our end. There has been loss for us
Right.
in this process.
It's true. And then when you get this gift, it makes you like you get rejuvenated and saying, "Wow, like really good
Well, like
things
we're
could happen." Like,
right, like when
like I think if you have pure intention and if you have good intention in life, like good things will follow. Like you if you do, you know what I mean. Like if you have a good heart and you just follow your heart and
because
good.
like where is the alignment, and that's it. Like, what is the intention behind the work
Right,
of being human,
right. That's so
right?
true.
If the intention is to not only do no harm, but to, like, do good, make it better, make the world better,
Yes,
then
right.
you begin to erase, like, those lines that divide people,
Right.
right? There's been no divide in this project for us.
No, not at all.
No divide. The guy who is coming in to paint is as worthy as the guy who is the executive producer of the show.
Oh my
Like,
God,
it's
right. It's just
equalizing.
right.
It's so equalizing.
You know what? Yeah, right. It's just such respect for everyone, and just appreciation and respect and love as well. It's just like how we feel for our kids. It's the same thing. So true.
So here we are
Yes.
on a Sunday, right?
Yes.
And where were we right before this radio show, Rosa?
Where would you find us? At school.
We were at
At
school,
school.
of course, on a Sunday afternoon.
That's right.
Me fixing up the Reggio
Yes.
room. You
Planning.
and hanging with our
Yes,
sensory
team.
gym
Oh my God, they're
installers
so
who are so
adorable.
sweet.
They are the
Just a
sweetest.
great team.
Team. Yep.
So
This was
as
such a nice show.
it was nice to pause,
Yes, and I was such a
And
good topic
reflect.
of discussion.
right? To
Gave
really
me
reflect.
a reboot. I don't know if it was the cold
maybe
brew.
it could have been the cold
It
brew.
could be the cold brew that I'm drinking.
Definitely.
But I thought the topic was inspiring.
Right. The human spirit.
Yes, I love it.
How to bring out the best in the human spirit.
That's true. Thanks again, George, to the rescue.
Oh,
We
my-
appreciate it so much, everyone who has helped us.
Right. So
Shout out to everyone.
to all those heroes and to all the heroes of 9/11. Those who made it out alive
Yes.
and those who didn't.
Aw.
The legacy of goodness in those days,
Yes.
in those moments following that tragedy, will be remembered forever and held, at least for me. That's what this anniversary did. has helped me to hold it in a way to make their sacrifice somehow worth it by teaching the children who weren't even a thought at the
Right,
time.
right.
They weren't here, teaching them the importance of peaceful resolution,
Yes.
the danger of not taking care of your emotions, the power that human beings have to kill and wrestle with a force that could make you do things that are horrible and
Right.
horrific, and the inherent goodness, divinity that people also have within to take care of each other, to sacrifice, to give back, to help each other and love each other and take care of each other. To me, that became very clear in pausing on how to teach the children about 9/11 this year at a time when we have had the privilege of being gifted
Right.
with something that was born of our own sacrifice, our own mission
Right.
to take on the children who fall through the cracks,
Right, that's
who
so true.
nobody else can educate, who are too sensitive, maybe, to make it, who are gifted and express themselves in ways that they need more attention. So, through that, through our own sacrifice, we were gifted George to the rescue. And from that gift came to understand just the power that we have as human beings to choose whether or not because we're all going to be struck with some kind of sadness in our life, to either open our hearts with mercy, right? Or close it off with bitterness. And seeing the way these people have so generously opened their hearts inspires me
Yes, inspires me too.
and will help us to inspire the children of Spark and of the world to grow up remembering that. Right?
That was beautifully said,
You
sister.
think so?
I
There
loved
was.
it.
It's Sunday
I love it.
afternoon.
That
Don't mean to
was
be preaching,
No,
but I
beautiful
think that
message.
kind
You
of
got
wrapped
it.
it
You
up
hit
for
it.
me. It was like the two sides, the contradiction,
Perfect.
right? But it's kind of
Perfect.
very, very important to think
What a
about
great message. That was
the forces we have to contend with to within ourselves as human beings. Okay, so I think that on that note,
Yes, I thought that was a beautiful concluding statement.
right, we'll go home, have some
Perfect.
of Mom's chicken pot pie.
Sounds good to me.
But I think it's from Costco.
Yes, it is from Costco.
Eat the best. Okay, home for some
right.
Sunday dinner. Love each other
Yes.
well. And Maddie will return next Sunday for Radical Democracy.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.